Hello there, class. This is your student teacher, Miss Christel S. Miñoza, and I welcome you here in my pre-recorded lesson for the subject Purposive Communication with the topic Communication Process. To start the class, let's have a prayer.
Under your wings, cover me within your mighty hands. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. Fire as my soul in Christ alone. Know His love in quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God.
Okay, how are you all guys doing? I hope you're all in good situation right now. So before we formally start our lesson, I would like to remind you that attendance really matters. So don't forget to accomplish the attendance form that I will be sent to you in our topic for today is all about the communication process. The objective of the lesson is at the end of the pre-recorded discussion, the student should have increased their knowledge in communication and its processes, illustrate the processes of communication, and apply the gained knowledge and communication through class exercises. To begin with, let's define what is communication. Since it's a pre-recorded discussion, I want you students to chat your responses in our GC. Remember that all the responses will be recorded in participation. Communication comes from the Latin word communicare, which means to share. Communication is the human act of sending verbal or nonverbal information online or offline, and receiving of messages or interpretation are normally constructed in the process. Communication is a natural activity of people who are almost engaged in almost all sorts of communication. All human beings are wired for communication activities. Okay, class, that's for communication. Now let's proceed to our main topic for today, the communication process. But before that, I want you to watch a short video clip.
The sender is the individual group or organization that needs or wants to share information with some other individual group or organization. The receiver is the individual group or organization for which the information is intended. The message is the information that the sender needs or wants to share with other people. A message is clear when it contains information that is easily interpreted or understood. Once the sender has decided what the message is, the next step in the process is encoding, translating the message into symbols or language that the receiver understands. Once a message is encoded, it is transmitted to the receiver through some medium. The medium is the pathway through which an encoded message is transmitted to a receiver. Just as senders have to translate their ideas or messages into a form that can be to the receiver, receivers have to make sense of the messages they receive. Decoding is interpreting, or trying to make sense of a sender's message. After decoding the message, the receiver has to respond to it, and start the feedback loop. The receiver must first decide what message to pass on to the original sender. If receiver properly interpreted the initial message, and common understanding has been reached, the communication process is complete.
The communication process. The communication is a two-way process wherein the message in the form of ideas, thoughts, feelings, opinions is transmitted between two or more persons with the intent of creating a shared understanding. It is a dynamic process that begins with conceptualizing of ideas by the sender who then transmits the message through a channel to the receiver, who in turn gives the feedback in the form of some message or signal within the given time frame. So before we proceed, I want you students to answer this question. How can you say that the communication became effective? As we've seen in the video clip earlier, we've came up that there are 7 elements in the communication process. So the question here is it possible that there will be an effective communication if one of those elements is missing? Okay, let's proceed. So as we've seen in the video earlier, we came to understand that there are 7 elements in the communication process, and these are the sender, the encoding, message, communication channel, receiver, decoding, and the feedback. My topic ends here. I hope that you learned something from my discussion. So for clarification, just ping me on my messenger and just wait for more for my instruction in regards to the assessment later on. So thank you and God bless. In my pre-recorded demonstration, I choose lecture with discussion as my strategy for I believe that in learning, the teacher is not always the one who is talking. And as a teacher, I should involve my learners in that way. So in that way, I can assure that they learn from me. I think it's no. Approach, method, and strategy makes the teaching effective. It gives the flow of the class and it helps to facilitate the learner's satisfaction. And I cannot imagine a class without using such. I think the best strategy for teaching English to non-English speaking students is the strategy that incorporates technology. Incorporating technology to actively engage the student, especially as digital media surrounds young people nowadays. Mobile devices can be used to show or display images that would help a student to understand faster, and videos which can help also to visualize and practice the target language. The strategy that I will use in the future will be the blended learning strategy. This kind of strategy blends online or digital components with face-to-face instruction, and I think it is very convenient in today's generation. This strategy keeps the students more engaged, stimulated, and motivated. It makes a greater gains and it enables students to explore information or guidance online which can be accessed anytime. Okay, I was excited at the same time nervous because I didn't know if I did right and if there's a lot of what ifs in my head. But I know to myself that I did my best to execute what I want them to learn. This pre-recorded demonstration makes me realize and grasp the field I am in. It makes me feel motivated to continue, for now I know the path I choose to pursue.